Hey everybody, it's Dave Dugdale, learningvideo.com. I thought it'd be kind of fun, about a week out from NAB 2017. Some of the announcements are going to start rolling out here in the next few days. I thought it'd be kind of fun to create a wish list. Not really accurate guesses or predictions, but just kind of wishes of what I would like to see. I also asked my Twitter audience what they would like to see, and they chimed in, and there was some reoccurring items I'll add to my list as well. But mostly this is just kind of a selfish list on my part. Maybe that some manufacturers will actually watch this and they'll say, oh, Dave's got a good idea. Let's do that. Obviously, it's only a week out. So anyway, let's just get started. So I'm going to try to do this in alphabetical order. I'm going to start with Adobe. Now, I'd say I don't really have any insider information on any of these items. I am a beta tester with Premiere Pro, but I have been using Resolve for like the last year, so I haven't touched Premiere Pro. So I haven't downloaded the beta version to see what they've actually got in there. So I don't have any inside information at all. But one of the things I would like to see is more advanced controls in the Lumetri color tab. Since they've kind of dumped speed grade, at least the last time I saw, they're not really supporting it or not even doing anything with it. So I'd love to see more, like a hue versus hue control that you'd find in Resolve. I'd love to see that very powerful feature inside the Lumetri color tab. Next up, alphabetical order, is Blackmagic. Again, this is more selfish on my part, but shooting with like the Sony series cameras and XAVCS codecs, I'd love them to give some more support to that, meaning the performance, like being able to like cut a file in half, move your playhead, and then hit play and have it instantly play rather than taking forever. Premiere Pro does a great job. Edius does a great job at this. Maybe Final Cut does, I don't know. But Resolve does a terrible job. Very, very laggy. So editing wise, it's just kind of a pain in the butt. Next item is probably a #1 Twitter trend I saw people asking for, and I'm right there with them. I'd love to see Blackmagic make a new Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. The small one, not the one that looks kind of like shaped like a tennis ball that has no screen on it, but the one they made like, what, 4 or 5 years ago? Something like that. That was like $1,000, and then they brought it down to $500, and I think it's back up to $1,000. I'd love to see them improve upon that. I think that would be great. Just be able to shoot RAW and have it integrate with Resolve really well. All right, next up is Canon. It'd be really cool if they made a mirrorless camera, 4K capable, without any crop, no motion JPEG stuff. Maybe they put ProRes in it or something better. That would be awesome. I mean, if you're gonna have big file size, why do motion JPEG? Why don't you do ProRes or DNxHR or something like that? That it would also accept the existing glass that everybody has from 70-200, 24-70 full frame glass. They could just put it on there. It would be kind of a weird looking camera, I'm guessing, because what is it? Canon has a flange distance from the sensor to the flange is like, what, 44, 42 millimeters? And the E mount, the E on Sony stands for 18, so it's like half the size. So the Canon mirrorless camera would look kind of weird, but I think a lot of people would buy it, and I love the color science coming from the Canon. In fact, right now I am shooting with the Canon 5D Mark IV. I'm actually shooting in 1080 because I didn't want to bother with the 4K file sizes from Motion JPEG. Next up is Nikon. I don't really have much to say about Nikon except they just fell into 3rd place and Sony just passed them. I thought, well, it was kind of interesting. I'm not sure what they're doing over at Nikon. And usually Nikon has kind of had a weird presence at NAB anyway. Sometimes they're there and sometimes they're not. So if they're there, hopefully maybe they'll get into the mirrorless market even before, you know, full frame mirrorless market even before Canon does. Who knows? Next up is Panasonic. You know, the whole GH5 autofocus issue. If you want me to chime in on it, I'll give you my opinion. I think there's something weird going on there because I don't have the camera. I didn't really plan on testing it until this summer, until their final firmware update happens, meaning that they've got all the things in it and then I can just review it once instead of reviewing it now and then reviewing it again in the summer, which doesn't make any sense. And plenty of people have done autofocus tests, and what I've seen is kind of peculiar where you can actually see like the hash across somebody's eye and it following them really well in like live view mode or before you even hit record. But when you hit record and it's still following them, but yet it's not keeping them in focus. So the focus system seems to know where the eye is, but it doesn't seem to know how to focus for it. but I'm guessing that'll be fixed by the time and I'm going to say fixed. I don't know with, Panasonic's official announcement, maybe that everything is user error, but I kind of doubt it judging from what I've seen online with Max's videos and stuff like that. So I'll go to NAB's Panasonic's booth and definitely give Matt Frazier a hard time and see what's going on. It's like, Matt, what's going on with the autofocus? So hopefully we'll see from Panasonic maybe a firmware update before that happens for the GH5. But for the rest of it, it seems like the GH5 is pretty amazing. What's interesting is the autofocus issue has clouded everything so much that nobody's discussing the 8-bit versus 10-bit, which is one of the most coveted or advanced features on there, which we've really never seen at this price range. And also the fantastic 4K 60 frames per second, which I think is just awesome. The stuff that I've seen online looks great, and I could use that for sports this summer when I get the camera. I'm really looking forward to that part of it. So it's funny that all these other features are getting clouded over that are fantastic. Everybody else is just talking about the autofocus. So anyway, moving on. Sigma. Not only myself, but other people on Twitter said the same thing. They would love to see glass come out. And where it's weird is Sigma, Tamron, Takina, they don't really have a presence at NAB. I think Takina was there last year. I think I went to their booth. It's very tiny. But Sigma's not there, which is really odd, because I think they should definitely have a big presence there at NAB. I think they should make E-mount glass, full frame or FE glass for the Sony cameras. And it sounds like they are, but I'd love to see them announced. 24-70, 2.8 would be great, 70-200. Give me some primes, because they're making amazing glass. And other people on Twitter said the same thing. All right, next up is Sony. I have a few items since I am a Sony user, and other people on Twitter chimed in, but probably the number one thing, we'd love to see like a Sony a7S Mark III at NAB with 4K, 60 frames per second to keep up with the GH5. Next up for Sony, I'm not the only one. Other people on Twitter said the same thing. Right here I have a A6500 with a 24-70 equivalent lens on it, but it's an f4. Love to see an f2.8 and do the same thing for a 7200. I'd love to see the zooms be 2.8. So either Sigma makes it, or hopefully Sigma will have really good autofocus. But also, Sony, can you give us some E-mount glass for the crop sensor zooms 2.8? That would be awesome. Get rid of these f4s. We got enough f4 glass. If you haven't been following me on this channel for a while, the last couple of weeks, you'll notice that I'm having problems with the A6500, the IBIS issues. Creates some really nasty vibration type thing. One guy told me it was something like the Z-axis or something like that. It's getting stuck or something like that when you do a pan and then you tilt up. Hopefully we'll fix that. And also, I mean, when you look at the IBIS on some of the other Micro Four Thirds cameras and you compare it to the IBIS or the Steady Shot inside the Sony's terrible compared to the other ones. They really need to improve, and I'd love to see that in NAB as well. Them saying, hey, we've improved the IBIS algorithm and it's working much better. There was several people on Twitter who said the same thing as me. I would love to see not just a flip out screen like this, but I want it to flip this way so I can see it this way. Yeah, everybody else is doing it. GH5, the Canon cameras, except for the 5D Mark IV, but give us a flip out screen. I know people like Casey Neistat who are now using the A6500. I'm sure he would love to see that happen at NAB. The next one for Sony is improved color. I'm actually working on a course. I'm almost done. I'm like, I want to get this done before I go to NAB. I don't know if I'll get it done or not, but I'm getting very close in terms of matching up the Canon and the Sony cameras. I'll talk more about that later. And that's pretty much it. The only other one I want to talk about, it's not really alphabetical order, is I think we're going to see trends happening. And we've got like Ari has the new sky panel. And what you see actually in my frame here, I've got a number of lights. They're called hue lighting. I did a kind of review on them a while back. And I can actually turn them off here and you can see what happens. There, you see I just turned it off. And I'll turn them back on. You can basically change the saturation and color of the lights. And Ari has this like really expensive, what is it, like $5,000 sky panel. I think what we're going to see is a lot of LED manufacturers going that route. I mean, Hue is making these for, they're more screw-in Edison bulbs, but I'd love to see them in other types of light, like the lights I'm using right here, be able to not only adjust the color temperature, you know, warm or cooler, but actually make it blue or make it magenta or make it whatever color you want. I think that would be really cool. I don't know what we're gonna see this year in terms of new cameras. Hopefully we'll see an A7S Mark III, but you know, the trends that I'm seeing, I'm gonna guess it's gonna be more of a refinement year where we all will see new cameras, but we're not gonna see major features. I mean, the GH5 obviously has given us some great features, but that was announced before, you know, in terms of 10-bit and 4K 60p, you know, refine things like better menus and less rolling shutter and, you know, better IBIS and, you know, maybe give us 10-bit, that type of stuff. And, you know, one of the biggest advances I could see, you know, left to put in cameras like this, I'm not really talking about like the C100, the FS5. I'm talking about cameras of this $3,000 range and lower, smaller. One of the last things to do, they kind of conquered the XLR issue where you can mount a contraption on the top, get the XLRs in, you're good to go. So it kind of alleviates what people have a problem with not having like a C300 or an FS7 where you can just connect the XLRs into it. But the last major hurdle is the ND filter. Getting an ND filter, you know, in between the sensor and the lens, somehow doing it internally. And, you know, the FS5 has something really cool, but it's got to come and move out of the way. And my little RX100, which I think is actually charging, no, it's actually right here, actually has an ND filter that is electronic, or actually moves into place and moves out of place. I don't know, I've never opened one of these up. I don't know how it works. Maybe when I go to NAB, I'll go up to them and say, do you have a cut version of this so I can see how the ND filter works? And I'll definitely go to the Sony booth and ask them like, hey, is it possible, physically possible, to put an ND filter on like a crop sensor or a full frame similar to what we've got in the RX100 Mark V? So that's pretty much it. If you're going to NAB and you see me there, definitely stop and say hello. If I'm talking to somebody else, just tap me on the shoulder. Love to say hi to all you guys. It's always a fun getting together with everybody. It's fun seeing all the different products. I fly in Sunday afternoon, and I'm not leaving till like Thursday afternoon. So I'm gonna be there for quite a while. So if you see me, let me know and say hi. It'll be great to see all you guys. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.